Hi, I'm Mal from the Money Study, bringing you another episode in our Take 10 Challenge. This one's number 32, talking about downsizing into superannuation, meaning we're selling our house, freeing up some money, and getting that money into super. The usual story, there's my disclaimer. It's all about facts, it's figures, it's information. We're not telling you what to do, we're telling you what you can do. So, downsizing. And what we're really talking about here is selling the family home, perhaps moving from a large 4-bedroom house or whatever it may be. You're just getting too old to look after it, or you're just rummaging around in a big house. You don't need all the rooms, and effectively we're going to downsize to a smaller apartment or a smaller house that more easily to maintain, perhaps. It could be a variety of reasons. We just want to move into near a coffee shop in the centre of the city, or whatever it may be. We've decided to sell up our home, and therefore we can take that money and literally use it for our retirement. Remembering, of course, that if you are indeed eligible for Centrelink, you need to be really considering the thoughts here, because what it comes down to is that your home is not an asset for Centrelink. So you could live in a $1 million, $3 million, $5 million, $10 million home, and that does not count for Centrelink. If you sell it and free up a couple of $1 million, then all of a sudden that's an asset. And of course that would just wipe out any chance of getting age pension. So you need to understand, but of course you wouldn't just not sell your house because of Centrelink, but you need to understand the ramifications and what you need to do or could do or should do to alleviate some of these issues. The idea, of course, is that any money you free up and you're investing it, be it in or outside of super, is going to generate more money than the loss that you would get perhaps if you're entitled to age pension. Now, of course, before you start thinking about just selling up, could you actually do something with your house anyway? Could you divide it into two? Put in another kitchen and bathroom or something the other end of the house and split it down the middle and create a dual tenancy or something, the strata title or whatever it may be, so that you actually could sell off half of your house, do a reno with another room or whatever it requires. That could be cheaper by doing that. You're spending a bit of money to therefore make money from the sale of half your house or something like that. Could you build a granny flat out the back? We'll do a session on granny flats later on. There's some interesting benefits from granny flats, because the yield, the amount of money you get from rent, can be quite high compared to the cost of building and so forth. And therefore, it's also got rid of half of your garden problems, because there's now a unit sitting on the back of it, or so it may be. And it could be the fact that your kids could live there, cheaper than you don't want them in the house until such time as they move out, and then you've got something that you can then rent out. All sorts of different ideas what you could do with a house on a big block of land. You could just rent your room out. Could be through Airbnb. You might have a regular tenant. Now, as a single person, perhaps you may not want someone in your house, or you might want someone in your house because if it's just someone to keep you company. You might have a friend. I don't know how, as long as you make sure it's a friend you can live with under all conditions and so forth. But it depends on the house, depends on you, whether that sort of thing is applicable. But remembering that any income you generate like that, it's got tax implications because it's income, therefore it's going to have tax, and it also would affect any sort of Centrelink. And of course, if you did come around to sell the house later on, because you've been making money from your house, it also creates capital gains tax issues as well. But a few things there to think of how you could use your land as such to generate income for retirement. Now, the government is also trying to help us, in theory, by allowing us to take money from the sale of your house and then putting that money into super. And so you're allowed to take $300,000 from the proceeds of the sale of the house you've been living in to put it into super. And that's each. So if you've got a partner, you could indeed, between the two of you, get $600,000 into super. It's not part of those non-concessional contribution caps, that 110 or the 330 that we spoke about in a previous session. It's got nothing to do with the concessionals. This is all on top of all of that. And even if you're over the total super balance of 1.9 million, you could still do this, because it's a different rule, completely separate from the normal contribution rules. So now, of course, it won't affect what you've got. It doesn't affect it going in, but once it's in there, then it gets recalculated once it's in there, and then therefore it may have issues to what you can contribute going forward because you've now pushed it over the 1.9 or something like that, and it certainly will have impact as ensuring that if you're already got your pensions, you won't be able to take that money and put it into pensions if you're already over $1.9 million in pensions. So there are a few restrictions what you might be able to do with it if you've already got lots of money in super already. But it does help those people close to all those caps, allow them to get more money into super if that's what they want to do. So you can only get the downsizing contributions from the sale of one home. Once you've done it once, that's it. You can't do it again in the future. Now, there's also quite a string, as you can well imagine, with these things of eligibility that you've got to be careful of. The house must be owned by you or your spouse for 10 years or more prior to the sale. So it comes down to, have you actually lived in this house for 10 years? And if not, then the sale is not going to count. The home has to be in Australia. Can't be a caravan, a houseboat, or any sort of other mobile home. So it's got to be a house basically on land, or an apartment or something similar. The contributions, you can't then turn around and put the money into super and then claim the tax deduction for them. That'd be nice, but no, you certainly cannot do that. So there's no tax deductions you're going to get from putting the contribution in. If you sell your home and eligible to choose and make those contributions, there is no requirement for you to purchase another home. So just because you've sold your home and you put the money in through this downsizer rule, it doesn't mean you have to take the rest of your money and buy a house. It could be the fact that you want to just buy a Winnebago and travel the Australia, or you're going to go, you're not well and you're going to go and live with your kids, or whatever the case may be there. You don't have to purchase another house. You've just sold the one that you were indeed living in. Now, of course, the amount that you're going to contribute, so this 300,000, can't be more than the proceeds of the sale. Now, that would probably be unlikely. You'd have to sell a house for less than 300,000 there for that to occur. But I suppose there would be that situation. But yeah, contribution can't be bigger than the proceeds from the sale. And if you do these contributions, they've got to go in to the super fund within 90 days of getting the money from the proceeds of the sale, on the day of settlement. They've got 90 days from settlement date when you get the money to get it into super. And I do believe you will need to fill out some paperwork from the super fund. Just talk to your super fund before you're ready to do this. If you know you're going to do it, find out what's required as far as any paperwork to accompany the contributions there. But yeah, look, just a bit of another way to start thinking about your retirement as being using your house either to make money from it or selling it to free up some money. But do remember, taxation issues and also our Centrelink issues, you really need to ensure you know what you're doing before you just jump into this willy-nilly without having thought about all the ramifications. And of course we can talk about that with you.